Morning. Joining us right now is JPMorgan Chase International Chairman Jacob Frenkel, fresh off of all of his travels around the world. Good to see you, Jacob. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning.
So we've been talking about the lowering of growth expectations from the IMF. What do you make of that? Are things getting worse from a global economic standpoint?
Well, we need to put it in perspective. Number one, the IMF has changed its forecasts very frequently during the past several years, only to change it back occasionally. So we put it in this perspective. Number two, when we talk about the global economy, it is not a uniform picture. The United States is doing well.
Right.
And the United States is the locomotive of the world. The world will not recover without the United States, and with the recovering of the United States, there is a good chance the world will recover. There are some soft points. Yes, Europe is still a soft point. China may be a soft point. Commodity producers are soft points. But the reality is that when you look at it in perspective, especially as you look into the past and ask, where were we just a few years ago,
right,
and where are we now, my picture or my assessment is much more positive, so much more positive that I believe that the Fed has enough reasons to move if it so wishes.
I want to bring in Keith and Gary in a minute, but let me get your take on regulation, because the last time we spoke, that was one of the sort of hindrances for this economy, that the regulatory environment was so onerous that it was keeping cash stagnant. Is that still the case?
Well, the regulatory environment cannot change overnight. The issue is the trajectory. Of course, there is now greater clarity, but if we want to go item by item, there is some room for greater clarification. But the key issue today is not there. The risks are the geopolitics of the world. The risks are the soft points in the world, especially the commodity-producing countries that are suffering, related to the fact that China is now changing its growth model to rely less on export-led growth. And therefore, let me just say, these changes, and many of them, are part of a strategy. It is not that somehow suddenly things went wrong. It is really the fact that the Chinese have decided some time ago to change the growth model. It is not changing overnight. It is a dramatic change. And as a result, there are adjustments along the way. It will be a mistake to disturb this adjustment.
I say. Keith McCullough.
I think global growth is just slowing at a faster rate, Maria. And I think that, while the U.S. has been the late cycle growth story, I think that as you get through the third quarter, you're going to see a 0 to 1.5 type GDP number. So the world's going to start to look, from a consensus perspective, a lot more like the markets look. Don't forget that every stock market in the world at this point by our scorecard is bearish from a trend perspective. That's an explicit market signal. Janet Yellen tried to say she was going to raise rates on Friday. Markets had it kind of like, wow, we can do it. And then they came back. Bond yields are back on the lows this morning. Stocks are down. So when I see a growth slowdown, no central planner can stop this. And I think that, again, rates up or down, stocks are going down. And that's a new message for the market overall.
Do you agree with that the central planners really can't even stop it?
The central planners should not stop it. But I believe that for a while, we have seen some disconnect between the real economies of the world and their respective financial markets. I prefer to look at the world through the real economy and make an assessment there, rather than look at the real world, through the financial markets. Financial markets have had a lot of erratic changes, a lot of changes of expectations, a lot of news that relate to non-economic matters.
Yeah, but Gary Kaminsky, it's hard not to look at the commodities complex, for example, breaking down. It's hard to not look at the industrial sector and think that this is telling you something.
Well, this has been going on for 6 months. First of all, let's put the IMF in perspective here. The fact that the IMF got it wrong on the upside is not a surprise. They haven't gotten right on the upside since pre-2007, so that's not a surprise. But, Jacob, you made a point that the Fed has enough ammunition, in your opinion, to raise rates, or they should have raised rates. But they didn't. And that's the fact that the market, as Keith points out, has been dealing with that since 2 Thursdays ago. Why didn't they raise rates, and what does it mean now, when you look at Friday's action, that even chatting up a rate increase isn't giving confidence to the markets?
Looking forward, why didn't they raise rates? I would have. But
so would have I.
But they didn't. He's talking reality, though.
Right,
they didn't.
They did not, because at the end of the day, there are always balances between risks management, and different people assess risks differently. But I'm looking at, rather than reading the minds of people, I want to read the script, the text. Stanley Fischer, the vice chairman of the Fed, laid it down beautifully. What did he say? He basically said, in order to be able to move with our normalization program, we will need to make sure that growth is on path. We will need to make sure that unemployment and labor markets in general are improving. We will need to make sure that the inflationary pressures are starting to move. On the growth issue of the US, there is no debate today. It is really improving, and it is improving robustly. When we look at labor markets, there is no issue. We have never seen such a rapid recovery.
I can push back on that. You had 9 straight months of declining factory orders.
Yes, but I want to make...
you have negative year-over-year durable good numbers. You have the rate of change in the labor market peaked in February. I mean, to say that there's no debate, clearly the market is debating your rate now, and this bond yields are falling, stocks are falling, pro-cyclical stocks are falling.
2 remarks. You can always look at sector by sector. There are some issues that require a telescope rather than a microscope. When I look at the labor market in the United States, unemployment, and that's a trend that has taken place for several years now, has been on the decline. Duration of unemployment has been on the decline. Yes, there are still issues of part-timers and many other things that we would like to see improvement in the labor market. But if that's not an improvement in the labor market, it's not there. The key issue, however, is the inflationary issues. People say, well, there is no inflationary pressures. That's not the time to normalize. I think that what Stanley Fischer said was very telling. He said 2 things. First, current inflation rates are very much influenced by past, maybe one-time change that is spreading itself over time. It's the decline in commodity prices. It is the strengthening of the dollar. But in no time, they will taper off. Furthermore, if you are going to wait for inflation to actually be at 2%, you will have missed the train.
No, they definitely missed the train. 5-year forward break-evens this morning are dipping below 1.09%. The market's saying to Stanley Fischer it's not transitory. It could be secular, and I do think that that's the broader debate that we should have.
Yes, but one of the reasons why markets did not like it and still do not like it, they like to have clarity.
Right.
They need to have a compass that is well defined. If the compass is labor market, economy and inflation, it's one thing. If it is suddenly volatility in financial markets and what happens in China, that's a very important and relevant matter, but this was not part of the ex-ante compass that was stated.
So no
Jacob said the markets want clarity. Unfortunately, we're not going to have any more clarity. That's certainly not going to happen over the next week.
Clarity's off the table after this last inaction, right, Jacob?
Wait a second. Well, I think that the last speech of Chairperson Yellen tried to clarify matters a bit better. Moved a little bit more. You are right. Given what is happening, until the rate goes.
Think they raise in October?
Let me tell you, when we meet next year, who cares? The important thing is not the step. The important thing is the trajectory.